Are you in the market for a 4K monitor for your PS5? Look no further. Today we have a budget entry-level monitor as well as a mid-range 4K monitor to test and compare to see which one is worth your money. Let's start off with the similarities. Both are 4K VA panels, so that means you get a higher native contrast than IPS alternatives, giving you deeper black levels. Both are 32 inches, which in my opinion is a perfect size for 4K resolution. Now to the differences. The most obvious difference is the Gigabyte monitor is curved while the Samsung is flat. Personally, I prefer the slight curve on the Gigabyte as it brings the edges of the monitor closer and removes any off-axis washout that you normally see on VA panels. The Gigabyte monitor is way brighter than the Samsung. The peak brightness of the Gigabyte in SDR is 519 nits, while the Samsung is 205 nits. This is a pro and a con, but mostly a pro. The higher brightness means better performance in bright rooms as well as punchier colors. The cons of the brightness are worse dark performance at the highest brightness setting. Since both monitors have about the same contrast ratio, the brighter backlight means in very dark scenes the Gigabyte's black levels look more bluish and lighter. This can be solved by just lowering the brightness, but then you lose out on the punchier colors. Backlight bleed is minimal on both monitors, slightly better on the Samsung, but not distracting on the Gigabyte whatsoever. If you are looking for a true HDR experience, look into Mini LED, as standard LED is not sufficient for the range of super bright highlights and deep blacks. HDR dims the whole menu of the PS5, and in dark scenes will also dim the HUD of the game, completely ruining immersion. Now let's talk about the main features of the more expensive 4K monitor. VRR and 120Hz output for the PS5. Right now, the true VRR support for games is minimal, but if you want to future-proof your gaming experience, then it is definitely worth looking into. On Spider-Man Miles Morales, when selecting the 120Hz output, you have a few more graphical features to play with. First off is 40 FPS fidelity, up from 30 FPS. It may not sound like much, but 40 FPS makes 30 FPS feel unplayable. It is a really good balance of the highest quality graphics and smooth, non-distracting frame rate. The other feature is a fully unlocked frame rate on the Performance and Performance RT mode, thanks to VRR. It is a buttery smooth mode with indoor scenes commonly reaching 100 plus FPS. It is way smoother than the locked 60 FPS, and even when it dips below 60, it is not distracting thanks to VRR syncing the display's refresh rate with the game's frame rate. 120Hz is also great for competitive players. On Rainbow Six Siege, you will notice a sharp decrease in input latency thanks to 120 FPS. If you are serious about competitive gaming, however, the PS5 DualSense adds a lot of input latency due to the Bluetooth connection. Consider picking up a wired aftermarket controller for the lowest possible input lag. Let's talk about the ports and general features of the two monitors. The Samsung features one HDMI 2.0 port supporting 4K 60Hz with 10-bit color and 444 chroma. One HDMI 1.4 port that will only support 4K 30Hz, and a DisplayPort 1.2 port that also supports 4K 60Hz as well as a 3.5mm audio jack. The OSD features are bare bones. You can change the RGB settings and port formats picture by picture to have two devices side by side as well as overdrive settings. The monitor supports FreeSync, but it does not work with the PS5. The Gigabyte comes with more features than some higher end monitors. The advertised killer feature is a KVM switch, which lives up to the hype. If you use multiple devices such as the PS5 and Xbox or PC, you can switch display inputs as well as keyboard, mouse, and any other USB devices such as a wireless headset, all with the click of a button. No need to unplug anything. The Gigabyte monitor also has plenty of ports. Two HDMI 2.1 24 gigabit per second ports that support 4K 60Hz 10-bit 444 color, or 4K 120Hz 10-bit 420 chroma subsampling. The subsampling isn't a problem for most PS5 use cases, and most people won't be able to tell. It mainly affects clarity of sharp, bright objects such as text or crosshairs in-game. Hopefully, the PS5 will support DSC in the future to bypass this. The other ports are a DisplayPort 1.4 port supporting 4K 160Hz 10-bit 444 color, 3 USB 3.2 ports, a headphone jack, a USB upstream port to connect a device for KVM functionality, as well as a USB-C port that can be used for KVM, 18-watt fast charging, or as a display connector. The OSD has plenty of useful features such as a game timer, different overdrive settings, picture-by-picture, black equalizer, and my personal favorite, a refresh rate counter. Sadly, it only works properly if VRR is enabled and being utilized. For the final part, which one is worth your money? Both monitors go on sale regularly, and on Amazon you can find the Samsung U32J590 for $299 USD and the Gigabyte M32UC for $579 USD. Are the extra features of the Gigabyte M32 worth almost double the price? In my opinion, if you have the budget and will make use of the KVM, then yes, it is worth it. In the end, I think both monitors are excellent for the money. I've used them both extensively and they are amazing monitors for the PS5. You won't be disappointed with either one. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in a future video soon.